Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. It's good to see all your smiley faces. How you guys doing today? I hope you're in the mood for some great entertainment, inspiring conversation, light, love, levity, our famous levity, and whatever else happens, because we are live. We do our shows live here generally, and just about 7 days a week, and something like 450 episodes we have done together, which is amazing. So many of you are with our show since its inception, and some of you have come along the way, along the ride and the journey from all around the world. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you guys being here as often as you are. We realize you can't be here maybe every day, though many of you are. And if you're not with us live, you do definitely binge watch. We've been seeing that, and I think that's really cool. Thanks for doing that too. Binge watching all these episodes, you need at least a week or so to do that, with some 450 episodes live. But what's really cool is the guests we have come from all walks of life too: Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, sports, comedy, inspiration, the culinary arts, and everything in between, and all levels of success and fields of endeavor, and celebrity friends, and so much more. And it's just been incredible. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the Instagram messages, the Facebook posts, the sharing, the liking, the tweeting about our show. And of course, you're watching our YouTube channel right now, where we house all these episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. So while you're there, we would love it if you give it some levity and you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. We made it really easy for you, calling it Jim Masters TV. That's the YouTube channel, and the show is the Jim Masters Show Live. Subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell as well, so you don't miss any of our episodes, live episodes, plus on location episodes, and when we do our surprise pop-up shows too, where all of a sudden I pop up and you and I have this amazing conversation, the viewers and your host here. And I know you guys love when we do those host levity viewer pop-up shows. We did one just about a week or so ago, and we've done several, and we've talked about every topic there is you can think of, and it's really fantastic. So we'll be doing another one of those. But again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click that notification bell. That's that little bell icon. And that way there, you'll be notified when we have our episodes, which is generally just about every single day. Now, if you're enjoying this episode, of course, while you're there on the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, we would love if you give it a thumbs up like. That would be awesome. That helps us as well. And when you do that, YouTube sees that, and then they take the episodes and they blast it out even further around the world to more viewers, which I think is great. And leave a comment on there too. Leave a comment if you're enjoying the episode. We welcome you to the Jim Masters Show Live. Hello to all the lovities out there who are watching from all around the world. Look at all these great comments that are coming in here as well. Speaking of levity, hey, share the levity. Tell your friends about JMS Live. A really wonderful opportunity for you to be here as sharing what you're enjoying with others as well. Mary is here. Hi, Jim and lovely friends. Good to see you, Mary, watching in Florida. Sherry Larson is watching in Kansas, USA. Hello, everyone. One more day, and it's the weekend. We have 2 shows this weekend on Saturday. That's amazing, right? Our work never stops. I used to do a radio show that was 10 hours live on Saturdays and Sundays. So, in the broadcasting business, you're used to all these crazy hours. Good evening, Jim and Lovities. So good to see you all tonight. You too. Kathy, reporting for duty in Cleveland, Ohio. Nice to see you in Cleveland as well. Alessandra, welcome from North Carolina. Good to see you as well. And we always try to spread some positivity and lift everybody up here on the show while we have, the entertainment and everything else that happens with this show is really surprising sometimes. Some of your comments are absolutely just amazing and so heartwarming too. Kathleen is always here from New York City. Now, when Kathleen is here, that means the New York Mets are not playing at home. That's my team. And hey, Jim, hope you're having a good day. Hi, everyone. And the reason why is Kathleen works for the New York Mets. She works for Citi Field where they play. And so They are not home. So she's here. Toby is in California in Sino, and she says, howdy, everyone. Good to see you as well. Alessandra has shared on Facebook and Twitter. Love that, love that, love that. And I think it's really fantastic. You guys are great. Good to see all of you here on the show, and keep those comments coming. We appreciate it. And again, we toast all of you. We welcome all of you, and we hope you guys are having a great day. If you're not having a great day, don't worry about it, because we will do our very best to perk you up, to, do whatever we can to put a smile on your face. Tonight, as I mentioned, we have Rebekah and James Ganiere here on the show, executive producers of the Emmy-nominated film Rekindling Christmas. And we're going to talk more about this amazing, heartwarming film, their involvement in it as well. Rebekah is a best-selling novelist as well, and you've probably seen her work. Talk a little bit about her work, a little about James as well. Of course, they are a wonderful couple together and a dynamic creative team who clearly, when they're left to work their vision, they've been able to create Emmy nomination worthy content. And now their next screenplay, No More Goodbyes, produced during 2020, and one of the first projects to complete principal photography during the pandemic, is quite amazing too. And also, James and Rebekah just signed a deal memo to direct and produce a paranormal feature. This would be Rebekah's directorial debut, which is exciting. They also are developing a graphic novel based on Rebekah's bestseller, Dead Awakenings. That's right. Really cool stuff. Rebekah is a writer and production designer, executive producer, co-casting, and she is a USA Today best-selling award-winning author and screenwriter. Rekindling Christmas is her first screenplay to be produced and Emmy-nominated for Outstanding Daytime Fiction Program, based on her novel by the same name. James, an award-winning director, producer, executive producer, casting and director, and Emmy-nominated producer as well, a Producers Guild of America and TV Academy member, alumni of USC School of Cinema, a TEDx speaker as well, and a geek, as he is described in A Family Man as well. Also founder and president of Rio Vista Universal, whose brand focuses on characters, the relationships, and transformations as well. He's also a consummate empire builder, too. We'll talk about all of that. Really cool stuff. Let's welcome him live and direct from Los Angeles, California. There they are. James and Rebekah, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are you guys today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fabulous.
Fantastic. Fabulous. That's a good way to say it. Now, you guys are in a secret, hidden location in the greater LA Hollywood area, because on the other side of the house, there's some celebrations and party going on. So you guys are there in sort of like a bunker, soundproof room.
Just in case the zombie apocalypse breaks out.
I was going to say, if something happens where a cat jumps on your lap or a kid bursts through the room, this crowd loves that. And just to show you guys, of course, we mentioned what happened when I just spurted out that word levity, and it really stuck with the show. Here's some levity coming your way from the audience, the viewers, the levities. Hello, Rebekah and James. Welcome from Mary Bishop in Pine Island, Florida. Alessandra says, welcome, Rebekah and James, to Levity Hall. She is in North Carolina. Linda Odell is in Florida. Good evening, Mr. Levity, and good evening to the Levities. They dubbed me Mr. Levity. Kathy Short says, welcome, Rebekah and James. So nice to have you with us tonight. Alessandra has already said you guys are Levities and you're now part of the Levity family. Not too shabby to be Levities. I mean, there's a lot of accolades. There's Emmys, as you guys know, and Tellys and Tonys and Grammys and Peabodys and Oscars. But when you get a Levity on the Jim Masters Show Live, I bet your feet are tingling about now, huh? Everybody says, yeah, my whole body's tingling, Jim. I've worked all my life for this. Kathleen Walker says, well, welcome, Rebekah and James. And she's in New York City, and Wozniak's in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome, Rebekah and James as well. So lots of love here, lots of levity, lots of welcome from our viewers who are tuned in live from all around the world. We love this. We love this. Hello, everybody. And they all talk amongst themselves as well. Alessandra says, I love paranormal stuff. So we can tease that a little bit too. So this is really exciting. We can start maybe by talking about Rekindling Christmas, just because it's so special and it really is something that I know was really a labor of love for you guys. You were saying it came out about a year ago and it's still available for viewing. What was the inspiration for it? And tell us about that process of creating this fantastic holiday movie.
Well, Rekindling Christmas, the screenplay is based off a book that I wrote called Rekindling Christmas. And I got the idea because I was sitting around several years ago getting some stuff done. And through the entire Christmas season, I watched about 300 different Christmas movies. My kids would come in and they'd be like, "Are you watching those cheesy Christmas movies again?" I was like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "Okay, well, maybe we'll just stay for one." And then they'd leave. And then, like, the next day they were like, "Oh, more cheesy movies. Let me sit down with you." So, at the end of watching all those, I just kept thinking, these are great. Like, I just love how they made me feel. And I want to write something like that. I write paranormal and sci-fi and steampunk and urban fantasy and, all that stuff. And I love that stuff. But this was something different. I hadn't really written anything that didn't have a vampire, a werewolf, or a zombie in it. So I thought, well, this could be an interesting challenge, And so I decided to write one. And I really liked some of my favorite Christmas movies that I had seen were the second chance romances, where, you had a couple that had been together and been pulled apart for some reason or another. And then later in life, they get back together. And so that's what I decided I wanted Rekindling Christmas to be. And so it's about Annika and Jesse, and they were college sweethearts. And a week after they get engaged, Jesse gets drafted into the NFL. And he leaves and he doesn't come back. And about 10 to 12 years later, he blows out his knee and he ends up coming back to the college town that he had met Annika in, so that he can coach football at the local college, to find out that she's still there. And she's the one who got away. And so it's about how he is trying to win her back, but she has so many pains in her past, so many things she's been through, that she's not quite is interested in doing that as he is. So it's about their relationship, and it's about forgiveness and love and redemption and, things like that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Dawn, who's here, and she welcomes you as well. She goes, "I love Christmas movies." And Alessandra does too. And Linda does. And of course, the Hallmark Christmas movies as well. You got the Hallmark crowd there. So what was it like, actually? What is it like for you taking a novel and turning it into a movie? For folks watching who aren't familiar with that process and the intensity of it, and trying to stay true to the characters, the book, the scenario, as best as possible. What is that process actually like?
It actually wasn't as hard as a lot of the other things that I've worked on, because this was a contemporary romance, which meant that I didn't add any side plots. I didn't add any other plots. All my paranormal and sci-fi stuff always has all these other plots, overarching plots and stuff like that, because of, they're in a series. So this was much simpler. It was easier to do because I had a relationship that started in the beginning and went through the whole book and then ended. And so most of the movie is pretty accurate to the book, not just in the things that happen, but also the actual dialogue is from the book. And so it wasn't that hard. I've had other ones that are much more difficult because you have so many other things you have to cut out. You have to really try and stick to the main storyline. And I did actually write a Christmas movie that I'm turning into a book that was way more difficult. I don't ever want to do that again. That was a way harder problem than taking a book and making it into a movie. Is taking a movie and making it into a book. It was a much more laborious process.
I would imagine. Now,
the other advantage too is Rebekah writes very visual.
Yeah.
On there. And so that makes it easier to translate to a visual medium, with film or television, as opposed to maybe some writers who don't write as visual. Then you have to create all this extra stuff.
Right, exactly. And that becomes an arduous process. I certainly don't doubt. When did Rebekah, for you, when did you start writing? What was the inspiration for you early on in sort of your life's journey to really pursue writing and telling stories, being an ultimate storyteller as you are? Early on, maybe in your schooling, or were you writing as a kid? Tell us a little bit about some of your early inspirations.
When I was in junior high, I started writing a lot of poetry. I loved poetry, so I wrote poetry. I didn't read very much growing up. I was terrible at reading. So I liked poetry. I loved Shel Silverstein. He was my favorite. And so I started writing poetry. Then in high school, I got a little bit into short stories. And that's when I found Stephen King and Dean Koontz and John Saul, and I really loved them. So I started writing a bunch of horror stuff. I started a novel when I was in college. I never finished it. It was about the mafia. It was a mafia romance. And then I didn't go back.
I won't ask why you didn't finish it.
Because writing a book is a lot of work.
Did you receive a phone call? Or?
I just didn't, I never got around to finishing it. And
yeah, because you were writing that, and then all of a sudden we started having kids, and that took a lot of time.
And then I went to college for theater, so I did theater a lot. And then when we started having kids, I stopped doing theater. And I was at a homeschool moms knitting group one day. Our almost 13-year-old son was maybe 6 months old. And there was a mom sitting there. We were just chatting about stuff. And she said she'd just been to a writer's conference and been talking to a publisher who said they'd never gotten a zombie romance and they really wanted a zombie romance. And I said, well, there's a reason that people don't write zombie romance. That's really gross. But the idea stuck in my head, and I came home and I told James, and I said, this is like so weird. And he said, well, if you were going to write it, what would you do?
Yeah.
I said, well, I'd throw out everything you know about zombies and I'd start from scratch. And that's how it started. I had an idea and I thought I was going to write just, maybe a short story or something like that. And I ended up writing 150,000 words in a month. And that was my first book, Dead Awakenings. And then the next month I wrote 150,000 words. And that was my second book called Breeders, which I haven't released yet. And then the third month, I wrote a different book in a different series. That was 150,000 words. And that was Reign of the Vampires, which is my the first book in my Society trilogy, which is out. And at that point, I was just kind of happy to have these 3 books and let them sit in my computer. But a few years later, after we'd moved, James introduced me to someone who became a very good friend of mine, Darren Calhoun. And he's an amazing writer in his own right. And his wife, Therese, who's actually featured in Rekindling Christmas. The two of them were the ones who really inspired me to try and publish Dead Awakenings. They said, you really should try. And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, no, try. So James dragged me to kicking and screaming to a writer's conference. And I pitched the book, and every publisher I pitched wanted to see it. And within a month or two, I had a bunch of offers on it. And it came out January 1st of 2014. And I recently got the rights back, and I've re-edited it, and I'm getting ready to re-release it. So that's how the whole journey started. It just started with the homeschooling moms knitting group.
I tell you.
And you're kicking and screaming.
Yeah. How about for you, James? You're a very prolific producer, and you've got your hands in so many different things in the industry as well. I thought I wore many hats in the industry. You do as well. Tell us about some of your early inspirations to want to go into the industry.
Well, I was hooked when I saw Star Wars for the first time. My sister was told that she couldn't go on a date and she had to stay home and watch me or she had to take me on her date. So I got my jacket.
There was a Brady Bunch episode, wasn't there? And Greg had the convertible and an umbrella
Well,
goes
we were
through
in
the
a little
convertible.
VW Bug, so like the entire windshield
Yeah.
was like the drive-in movie theater. Age 5, I'm watching, Star Wars, and my eyes are as big as they could be. And I was a hyperactive kid,
Yeah.
and you know, and they, she got, or her boyfriend got me this milk carton of Whoppers. I don't know if you remember those, but
Oh, sure. Yeah.
they used to come in a big milk carton.
Yes.
And I just was eating them one after another, and my legs were swinging, but I was still, from like the waist up, just riveted with what I was seeing on the screen. And at 5, you wouldn't think that you would remember that much, but I had a lot of early childhood stuff that happened that caused me to remember quite a few things. My brother passed away when I was 3, and so I have a lot of these early memories. But I was watching that film, and I knew that what I was watching wasn't real, but I knew it looked real. And I knew somebody had that idea in their head, and they created this world, this entire world that looked so real. And I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And I didn't, I mean, it's like 5. I didn't know how I was going to do that. But, over the years, I eventually found out that USC had a film school. I didn't even know they had schools for that. And I didn't even think about how difficult it was to get in. I just said, I'm going to that school, and that's that. And
right.
And so that's what I did. And I was like, I got to learn everything there is about filmmaking. I don't want to miss anything, because this just is so fulfilling as a creator.
Yeah. Who were some of the people that were at that time inspiring you? Others that were already there doing it that you really found getting inspiration from?
Well, I mean, growing up as a kid, I mean, I couldn't wait to see the next Spielberg or Lucas film, like it, and even like John Hughes, like the ensemble cast that he puts together, and then when I was at USC, I ended up sitting down in one of my classes that I got into, because as an undergrad, I was able to take some of the graduate classes if you had above a certain GPA. And so as soon as I was getting on the dean's list, I was signing up for these graduate courses as an undergrad, and I was sitting in a class of 6 of us, and Rob Reiner comes in to teach for the day. Like,
not too shabby.
You can't beat that. And my sound teacher was Tom Holdman. Well, Tom Holdman created Tom Holdman Effects, which is THX. And it's like, growing up in the 80s and 90s, like, everybody knew THX. So just to be among these really incredible filmmakers, it was a dream come true for me.
Mm-hmm. So would you consider that one of the big door opening opportunities for you that led to other bigger things coming your way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Had I not gone there, I wouldn't have had the confidence. I wouldn't have the complete confidence to kind of go from there. That gave me a base, a foundation where I knew I had the full capability to do whatever. And of course, we ended up deciding to put a pause on that as a career as soon as we started having kids. And so for 10 years, for a decade, we did other things, because, it's one thing to have a family. It's another thing to keep a family. And if you're not around, it's hard to keep a family.
Right.
So, I had to make sure I was doing work where, while we're building this family very young, we were still able to keep together and spend some time together.
How did the two of you meet? How did this partnership develop, professional and personal?
He went to USC with my brother. They were in the same fraternity. And so I had met him when the fraternity came up. I was living in Salt Lake at the time, and they all came up together to do an activity from USC. And my brother had invited both myself and my younger sister, who's 8 years younger than I to go. My younger sister had come down from Idaho, where we were living, where my parents were living at the time, to see my older brother because he'd been at college and they were very close. And we went out on this huge group date, and I met him there, and I said, "Hey, he's pretty cool."
And then he said, "You're right."
I thought she was pretty awesome. And we just kind of, I kept in touch with her, but she always had a boyfriend, you know? So I was just like, okay,
And
well,
we are
maybe
proud of
someday
you.
she won't have a boyfriend. But, you know, I was like, I wasn't sure how long I might have to wait for that because, you know, Rebekah's pretty hot.
And we're live.
We waited 4 years.
Yeah, I tell you. Definitely a match made in heaven for sure. The combining of resources and talents, when did you start to really do that? Or was that right out of the get-go, you know, out of the gate, where you said, hey, you know, she has this background, these talents, I have these, let's combine forces and create some of these things that you guys have been creating. When did that actually happen for you two?
Maybe 5 years ago.
About 5 years ago?
I mean,
Was
I
there
was
an initial
writing for a long
project?
time. I was
Yeah.
writing for a long time, and he was doing things in the industry, but we were kind of on our own, you know, career journeys, with me with writing and him doing production. And all 4 of our kids have been in the entertainment industry.
I mean, it was early in all of our careers in the industry at that point. So you didn't have much control on there. And of course, Rebekah would be like, when are you going to make my books into a movie? She'd hit me up with that at least once a week. When are you going to make my books into a movie? I was like, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to talk with some folks over at CW,
Yeah.
you know, but this happened. And so it's like, I was just like constantly working on it, but it's like, you have to, I mean, the thing about the industry is they always say it's a 10 years overnight success or something like that. And sometimes it's longer. Like, you know, for us, it seems like, you know, 14, 15 years on there. But you work with enough people, you build enough of a reputation and a network of folks. And then when you kind of finally get that window of opportunity that opens up, you take it. And a lot of times that isn't until, you know, 5, 10, 15 years out. But if you're prepared and it happens, then it all starts to go from there.
Which is really great. What was the very first thing that you guys worked together on, that you collaborated on, that is something that you guys are really proud of? The first thing that came together for the two of you project-wise?
Rekindling Christmas.
Yeah.
That was the one.
That, like, literally, that's the first one we've been able to all work together on.
Yeah. How long did it take?
Our son Christian's in it as well, so that was a lot of fun, being able to have Christian be in it.
So we did that January 3rd last year. We shot over 11 days on 11 there.
Days.
We
got a photo here too. There you go. It's a great cover, huh?
Oh yeah.
So the lead character's there. And we've got another photo here too. Tell us who we have there.
Yeah, that's Stella Grubb.
Yeah.
So she plays Lizzie in the film.
Yeah.
She was a great find. So that was like the last really huge role. And it's so pivotal to the film. You know, we were literally scouring everywhere to find the right Lizzie. And we had 2 people that were good, but you didn't feel like they were exactly Lizzie. And so when I was reaching out to everybody, and one of the places that I reached out to was a acting school in Louisiana. And Stella's submission came in through them. And I got to tell you, like a couple seconds into it, we're both, that's Lizzie. That's her.
So you knew, she knocked it out of the park, huh?
When you know a story so well,
yeah.
And that's the thing, is when you hand stuff off to a casting director, sometimes they don't know it as well. But for Rebekah having written the novel and the screenplay, and for me being, there the whole time through the whole development process, and that, we knew these characters. We knew who would embody these characters completely. And so when we found the right person, just snatched them up.
Yeah.
The role of Lizzie was also originally written for my daughter, Angelina.
Yeah.
Based off of Angelina. A lot of the stuff is really based off of things she would say or do, or her little personality. She's 16 now, but, and it really was just one of those things where it was like, I knew exactly what this kid was supposed to be like because I lived with her every single day. So, it came down to there had to be a feel of precociousness without being annoying, right, or, anything like that, bratty or anything. It just had to be like a sincere, sweet little, cute, funny, just, but a little bit older for her age and the way she thinks and the things that she says. And it's hard to find that a lot of times in kids because it will come off as bratty or know-it-all or something like that. And we really wanted someone who was innocent and just, things popped out of her mouth and they were just so her. And so Stella really was a great find for that.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of the characters in Rekindling Christmas have parts of us or kids or people we know in it.
Yeah.
Rebekah mentioned earlier, Therese. Therese is the bookstore owner. Was
that the case in the book as well, in the novel as well? Were there traces of you guys and kids and others in the original book as well?
Yes. Therese, like James was saying, who had her and her husband, Darren, two very good friends of mine who had gotten me into writing and really, supported me a lot. Therese used to read all of my books. She was my first beta reader. She would go through all my books for me. She was the first one to get them. She'd tell me exactly what she thought, which I loved. And she was amazing. We lost her about 2 months before we started filming to cancer. And so that role was also very difficult for me to want to fill because I knew Therese and I knew what she was supposed to be like in the book. But when I found Gigi, I was just like, this is it. This is who she is. Like she's just embodies this big smile, big hearted woman who just, always is ready with a hug and to make you laugh.
Oh yeah. Gidget walks in the room and her smile and her attitude automatically just lifts everybody in the room. And that was Therese, and she really embodied Therese. So it was an easy pick for us as soon as we saw her audition. It's like, oh yes, that's her.
That's incredible when that happens. We actually have the movie trailer that we'd love to share with our lovely audience here, so people can get an understanding a little bit of Rekindling Christmas, which again is really well done, well produced, well executed. And I think people who haven't seen it yet will be wanting to get it or at least get access to it. Where can they see Rekindling Christmas now if they want to see it?
So if they go to rekindlingchristmas.com, it'll have links to all of the places that they may frequent where they can go ahead and either watch it or get a copy of it. So, Amazon, iTunes, kind of all through there. They're all listed there. And then we'll also have some private events. We're at the Burbank Film Festival coming up next month. We're screening on the 11th, 3 p.m. At the AMC 16. And we'll just list other things as they pop up on there. So people can always find it wherever it is easiest for them.
That's fantastic. Let's take a look, gang, at the movie trailer. You're going to love it. It's Rekindling Christmas. Here we go.
Anna Kajali.
Jesse Winchester. What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be off playing football or something?
Oh, no, I busted my knee.
Think I might be out for good this time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Annika and I used to be engaged.
That's her? That's college girl?
Isn't that football guy you're always watching?
Yeah, Jesse something.
Hi.
I'm Todd James Marshall.
Nice to officially meet you, Todd James Marshall.
You're coming tomorrow, right?
Well,
Wow, this is amazing.
after all this time, what do you want from me?
We can.
Having kids seems to turn guys off.
Anybody who doesn't see that TJ is amazing isn't worth your time.
Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations on that. Like I said, the production value is very, very high. You know, it's top level quality. I know we talked about places for it to air as well, possibly like PBS or something. That would be a great home for it. Lifetime, Hallmark, any of those networks as well?
No, Hallmark likes for there not to really be conflict in their movies. They like very small amount of conflict. So they passed on it because it had too much conflict in it. And Lifetime passed because there was like one little faith-based element in there, and they said no because of the faith-based element that was in there. It was very small, but I was like, okay. So yeah,
Christmas is about, Jesus.
well, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, as
I was surprised because
as
we had gone back and
follower
forth
of Christmas myself.
I was surprised because we went back and forth with Lifetime for a while, and they were really loved it. They were really interested in it, and they just at the last minute, that was just the thing that decided the other side of the fence.
And they didn't say, which you wouldn't do because it alters the whole flavor, take it out, edit it. Well, if you edit it out, we'll air it type thing. Because I know sometimes that does happen with movies and films and TV shows. Well, if you just tweak this, then we'll do that. Was that something that was...
It was not possible. The one thing they wanted us to remove, it
was a thread that goes throughout the whole...
You couldn't remove it without...
changing
a
the
major
whole
part of the story being gone. So
right,
yeah.
And the funny thing is it like we had a lot of people that screened it, and they thought that was the best part. So,
right,
but,
yeah.
But I was like pleased because normally Lifetime doesn't like conflict either, and we do have like real grounded relationship conflict between the two. I mean, Rebekah was masterful in the way that she wrote these two characters and the dialogue and the stuff that's going on and the interruptions that they have while they're trying to have a discussion, that keeps them apart. I mean, she's really good at doing that. And we were able to capture that in such a way to where it really just pulls you into the film.
Yeah.
And most people, they don't even realize that that there's conflict there between the two. They just realize that it's a Christmas
real
film
life.
that's a little bit different that they really love.
Right. And that's real life too, there's conflict, there's resolution, there's working through things. It's all part of life. And if the pandemic that we've been going through hasn't taught us that, and all the things, the economic, the civil unrest, the political craziness, all those things, I was saying in relation to that, and I've said it on this show a couple of times, that I think what happened was back in 2019, maybe even a little earlier, three energy forces came together: the divine, Mother Nature, planet Earth. The big three that really run the show. We think we do. They run the show. They came together and they said, you know what? Enough. We don't like the way humans are treating each other. Forget about the animals and the sun and the ocean and the trees. We'll leave that alone. But the humans with the road rage and the arguments, the divisiveness, the violence, just all the stuff just spiraling and seeming to get worse, and people pulling apart, and all of this every man for himself way of thinking. Stop. We're going to stop it, because that's not why we created life. That's not why we created, nature and this beautiful planet of ours. And you guys are sort of mucking it up. So we're going to throw a few things that are heavy duty out towards humanity, and we're going to make it global. We're going to throw a pandemic. We're going to have it affect the wallet with the economy. We're going to have civil unrest, and we're going to have political craziness. We're going to throw all that out at the same time, and we're going to do it at the start of a new decade, because that's when people are sort of writing off the decade before, looking to the new decade with hope and excitement. That's when we're going to do it, because it's going to be a wake-up call with the decade starting with 2020, which sounds fantastic. I mean, it sounded like it was going to be a banner year, 2020. I mean, it sounds so galactic. It's perfect. And I think that that's what happened. And it was a lesson for us to see how we can get along and how we can unify and treat each other, and kindness and empathy, all those important things. And leaders were born during it, rolling up their sleeves and helping one another. And we've seen the worst of the worst in people too, but I think we've seen the best of the best come out. And I think there's three, and you mentioned a name earlier. I'll include his name in the mix. Now four, I was always saying three, that could have really scripted what we've experienced the last 18 months or so. Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, Rod Serling.
Oh, yeah.
And Lucas now, I would say as well. Those are the ones that could have thought of something as epic as what we've been experiencing. But I was saying, in jest, but I think there was something to it, that those three energies came together and said, we got to put a pause here and give people an opportunity to breathe and just figure things out, because we're not headed in the right direction as a society and as humanity. And so my hope is that we rise from the ashes more empathetic, kinder, loving, and collaborative and unified. I know it's an uphill battle, but you don't give up. You keep going. I'm a Libra, so I like balance and harmony anyway. So I got to go. I got to go.
5 years ago that we were going to have a whole year that the entire Earth was going to be put in a timeout. the global economy, everybody. It's like, we're going to have a timeout for a full year, and you guys are just going to reflect on everything. I'd be like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I was like, and maybe in a movie, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
and then it did.
And then it did.
And I think it's really been a really positive thing. I know you can focus on either the positive or the negative in any situation, but when you focus on the positive, it grows. And I think there's some really great things that have come out of this as people kind of reflect of what actually is important in their life, and maybe what they were spending their time on. Maybe they should have made a better choice or different choice to, spend some of that time on something else. So we spent it being very creative.
Yep.
So how have you done that? What were some of the things, teachable moments, things that maybe you've learned about each other, you've learned about yourselves? In some situations, relationships have been torn apart. In others, it's been strengthened. And they've learned about each other a little bit more deeply. And people are looking in the mirror. They're looking at their jobs and they're saying, hey, this is what I think I want to try something different, or I want to, try something that really reflects me and speaks to my heart and soul. What are some things you guys learned, and what were some things that you guys did to stay creative, connected, collaborative, and sane through it all? And usually when I ask the sane part, everybody says, Jim, get back to me. I am not there yet on the sane.
Well, we made 2 movies.
Yeah.
That's the creative and collaborative.
We made 2 movies. We're working on we worked on post-production for 2 movies. You know, because we're stay-at-home parents who homeschool our kids for the last 12 years or so. Yeah. It wasn't as hard on us to stay home. It was hard on the kids just because, you know, they couldn't do hockey anymore and violin, and they couldn't do all the things that they were doing outside, and they couldn't see friends and things like that. So socially and emotionally, it became very difficult for them. Most of my friends are online, so, you know, it didn't really matter to me. It was hard because I miss my sister. My sister used to live less than a mile from us. And then right before the pandemic hit, she moved to Texas. So that's been a little bit difficult. She had twins during the pandemic, so she had 2 little boys.
Yeah.
So, you know, not being able to see them as much as I want has been hard. But other than that, you know, being at home has never been really a problem for us because it's something that we're kind of used to.
The theaters closing was really difficult because for our entire, 23 years of marriage, every month we would go to the movies, and we would do that as a family, even with infants.
Yeah.
We really never skipped that.
Right.
So, I mean, 23 years of every month doing that. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, all the movie theaters are closed. You can't come and do that. But we'd make a day of it. We would, you know, buy popcorn and soda and all the candy. And it was just a whole thing that we did together. And it's like, well, what else could we do? And the other alternative activities weren't open either. So not being able to do activities that we had, we started to realize how much we missed that. So as soon as the theaters opened up, we're like, we're there.
Yeah, right.
We had the whole theater to ourselves, which meant we could be as loud as we wanted to, and cheering and laughing and commenting on the film.
You can throw popcorn at each other. And
so, but we ended up doing a lot of walks as a family. We would do walks and stuff, you know, and that helped us kind of get through until things were opening up, to where we could do those activities again.
That's great. You know, Rekindling Christmas, what's also really wonderful about it is this Christmas fantasy family romance movie. You cover a lot of different things that, you know, are things we deal with in life: relationships, mistakes, miscommunication, the pain of loss, assumptions, perceptions, some of the things that really matter in life. And you know, the family you choose and creating a life worth living, all of that is wrapped into this movie. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to be able to hit upon all those things. Because sometimes, you know, we watch things that are very entertaining, but maybe they don't have a message or just something that we can relate to. And this is a very relatable movie. People will find various elements. The storyline might not match their life, but there's various things about the storyline and the actors and actresses and the folks that are involved who are interpreting your vision on screen. They will pick up little essences and nuances that will hit them right here and be familiar to them, because you cover so many different things about the meaning of life, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is like, no matter if you're watching a Christmas film that we make, or if you're watching a vampire film or whatever, you're always going to see these characters and be learning from them. And each time there's always a good ending, because that's something that like we want a good ending. Like, if there's not a good ending, why do you want to watch it? And why are you going to watch it more than once? Right. And for us, we really love watching great movies more than once. And so, you know, you with the stuff that we do, you'll always have a great ending. You'll always learn something. You know, you should be learning something from it each time you watch it. So there's just, as you watch it, you discover more and more things about it. And you're certainly going to learn some life lessons or skills from some of these characters and situations they're in. and most likely you're going to be able to relate to some of these characters, whether that character is like you or you know somebody like them. These characters are real people to us.
Yeah.
And in fact, they talk to you. As she's writing them and that they'll tell her where, like, no, that's not my story. My story is different than what you plotted out. You need to go this way.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So these are real people to us that you could actually meet, as you walk up, and you like meet somebody. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the exact person that was in the book or was in the movie. And so that's what you can expect when you watch one of our films or TV shows.
That is fantastic. We mentioned a little bit in the introduction some of the cool things that are coming up. Let's talk a little bit more. I know we're focusing a lot on Rekindling Christmas, and congratulations on the Emmy nomination as well. That I know, being in this industry too, those don't just get handed out without it being quality and things of that nature. But the next screenplay, No More Goodbyes, that produced again during 2020, one of the first projects again to complete principal photography during the pandemic. Tell us a little bit about that, because obviously to do that during this time, there's all these precautions and there was the social distancing and all. So you had to really work within that and around that, and to be able to pull it off and put it together. What was that all like? And tell us a little bit more about that particular production. Sounds amazing.
Well, I don't, like, so much has happened since then, but I'm sure some people remember, like, in March 15th, everything was shutting down nationwide. I mean, it was, and then, in May and June, like, there was so much uncertainty because we were getting into the thick of things. And while we were in the thick of things and things were getting worse everywhere, we were ramping up for production. And I had to do, I was connecting with labs, like pharmaceutical labs, as well as universities, and, following the CDC and as much as we could, and establishing protocols so that I knew that we would be able to keep everybody safe on there. So that was very, very important with me. And I had a background already with, kind of industrial safety and stuff like that. Having, ran a temp agency and had been sending folks out to construction sites and the oil fields, which the oil fields are very dangerous. And so safety is paramount on there. So with that background, we just I made sure that we were over prepared for everything and just had all these extra things that we were doing beyond what was required by the guilds on there. And that was great for everybody to feel comfortable that we had a handle on what was going on, because with all the uncertainty, we had to convince crew and cast to go and film as one of the first couple films that was doing this and everything. And fortunately, like, everyone was such a wonderful part of the team and really believed in the project and the vision, and everybody wanted to help in any way they could. So that was kind of just the logistic end of it as we were ramping up. And then there was the whole part of casting as well for that. Fortunately, one of the two leads was planned for our son Christian. So Rebekah had written it specifically for them, and then we were able to find Jaquan Jackson, who actually, before we go too further into that, Rebekah, why don't you tell them a little bit about what the story is about?
So No More Goodbyes is about two interracial foster brothers who, after their foster mother dies, they go and run away together to keep from being split up by the system. And it's about these two brothers who aren't blood brothers, but in spirit, they're close as any brothers ever could be. And it's about what they're willing to do to stay together. The things that the older brother, Mark, is willing to do to sacrifice to keep his younger brother safe. His younger brother who has PTSD and is on spectrum and has a whole bunch of, past history type issues from things that have happened to him and being in foster and stuff like that. And so the story is about these two boys who run away, and then their car breaks down in a little town. And then they meet this gruff, old, retired military man who, doesn't really want to take them in, but he sees that they're in need, and he's trying to find redemption of his own for things that he's done in his past. And he takes these boys in, and it's about what makes a family, it's the journey that they go on to try and stay together. And it was just something very heartfelt that kind of came to me out of the blue.
Yeah.
Christian was presenting the Emmys with Marcus Scribner from Blackish, and Marcus's manager at the time, Constance, who is now Christian's manager, had said, these guys are so cute together, they should do like some kind of buddy comedy. And James had told me that, and I just kept thinking, where would a 16, 17-year-old, young Black man become best friends with a 7, 8, 9-year-old little white kid, and I just kept thinking about it. And we searched foster care. We'd researched foster care and adoption quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought they would be foster brothers, and what if they were foster brothers that, meant the world to each other, and they were all that they had was each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how it came about.
Wow. Now, where can people see that one?
That's in post-production right now.
So that's still in the post-production phase right now?
Yeah, so
do you
that
have
one's
a target for when you hope to have it wrapped by?
Our target for that one is Sundance. So we're going to be submitting to Sundance and then go through the festival circuit on that. It definitely has this indie feel that is social impact on there. It's something we're really passionate about, and have a number of friends that have adopted as well, or have had foster care kids, and the stories that we've heard, and this one's near and dear to our heart, and we're super excited that we were able to film this during the pandemic.
Unbelievable.
And get that done. And having finished the picture lock, it's powerful. I mean, it's having already seen it 100 times myself during the edit process. There are still so many moments in the film where I just start tearing up, because the intensity is just right there on the screen.
Yeah.
And we just did a spotting session with the composer so that he could see the whole film, and then I could talk with him about the type of music to have throughout the film and at what scenes. And even he started tearing up as he's watching this during the spotting session. And we haven't even finished color correction or sound design or any of the other stuff. Just the raw performances on screen are so intense. And there's these great laughter, fun, tender moments as well. So it just takes you on this incredible roller coaster in this coming of age film.
So really moving and intense and powerful performances and storyline. And like you say, everybody feeling it and tearing up. And, those kinds of experiences, I'm very communal. So I love when we're all in a movie theater and we're all seeing the Titanic sink and we're all feeling the same thing, no matter our ages, our backgrounds, our zip codes, our income, our cultural differences, whatever. But during those moments when you're watching art, when you're consuming, listening to music and watching television shows and movies and reading fabulous novels, there's just something that's very communal and really touches the human spirit on ways that go deep. And for you guys and everybody to be moved reminds me of that Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy moment when he was looking at her and guess who's coming to dinner and said, if it was half what we felt. It was everything. One of those kinds of like where nobody else had to say a word. You just let it sweep over you. What inspires you guys individually, collectively, to create this art, to create these stories, to want to share, to want to touch people's lives through your work, through your craft, through the love of what you do in such a beautiful way?
Well, for me, if I didn't write it, my brain would explode.
That makes sense.
I have over 200 book ideas that are still waiting to be written. It's what I do for me. I create these stories for me. I don't really go out with friends. I don't get my nails done. I get my hair cut maybe once every year and a half. And it's
about
really
what had happened to me. Mine's usually shorter like his.
Mine was down to my waist, and I got about 5 inches cut off, so I'm doing a little better now. But it really is the thing I do for me is stories. Stories is what I do for me, and what I love to do. And the fact that I have fans that say I loved this book, or this book changed me because of this character you wrote and the things that I've been through, or, this thing that they went through completely reminded me of what I'd been through. And they could relate to it, or gave them hope, things like that. Even with my vampires and werewolves and zombies books, I have people tell me that they love it because the people are real and what they go through is real. And that they've been through it, or they have a friend who's been through it, or, and it really has touched them or helped them. That makes me feel great, because that's, I always love to entertain. Like, that's my thing, that I don't write preachy romance. I write romance because it's fun, and because it's love, and everybody loves love. But at the same time, to have people say, wow, you created this person who isn't just a character, they're a person. And I know this person because I am this person is there's no greater gift. There's no greater compliment than to hear that.
Oh, I remember when we were at Comic-Con and we had a booth there, and we were selling Rebekah's novels and as well as like a zombie board game and that. And we had somebody came up to the table and just was so excited, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea you guys are going to be here. I'm from New Zealand."
Oh boy.
And Rebekah goes, "My books are selling in New Zealand?
New Zealand?
And what are you doing here at Comic-Con?"
Yeah. Dedicated fan.
It like really blew up.
How does it make you feel, like when you get feedback from the consumers of the material? It must be really not just validating, but really touch you in ways that people are being touched by the material.
Yeah, it really is. There's nothing better than creating something from your head and from your heart and having it resonate with other people. There's the only other thing I can compare it to is having children. I love my children, and when my children make other people happy, I feel like I've done something great.
And both of them are labor intensive.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Well, like probably Rebekah's #1 fan. We actually had a character in the film that's named after her, and she comes to the book signing in the film, Kathy Lilly, and she had no idea that Rebekah had written her into the book, and so she couldn't believe it when we had a character of her on screen.
Yeah,
on there.
I wrote her into the movie. She wasn't in the book, but she got written into the movie, and
wow.
She just started crying. She's like, "It's the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me."
Ever done. Absolutely.
And I was just like, "Well, I love you to death. You're amazing." So,
and for me, creating it's really hard to explain what the feeling is inside as you're creating stuff, and you bring it from just an idea into reality. It's so fulfilling. And when I'm on set directing, I get hyper focused as a director, and making sure that I get that exact performance that conveys so much more than just the words coming out of their mouth. So that there's all these extra things that are going on and all the subtext. So if you watch carefully and really watch it, and you watch it more than once, you start to see there's so much more to the relationship. And to be able to bring something for folks that might help them find joy in their life is really fulfilling and exciting for me, because I mean, I truly am happy. And so it's funny because sometimes I say I'm fabulous, and people will look at me and they're like, "Are you joking with me? Are you pulling my leg?"
Are you really fabulous?
and so they think I'm being sarcastic at first, and then all of a sudden, like a minute, into the conversation, they realize I'm dead serious. I'm fabulous.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter what's going on around me,
right.
or how bad things are. In fact, there was a really great thing I saw on America's Got Talent, Night Birdie, and she said, we aren't the bad things that happen to us. And it's true. We aren't. We are what we make of ourselves and decide what we'll be. We aren't defined by the bad things that happen to us. You choose how you're going to, if you're going to be happy, and what you're going to, how you're going to react to things, as well as how you're going to, conduct your life and that. And so it's amazing how people will maybe only have 2% chance to live and have terminal cancer, but they're full of joy. And if we can convey how to actually obtain that to our audience, wow, like there's nothing better than that.
It's obvious that the two of you are surrounded by blessings and joys in your life, and you realize that, and you appreciate that, and you work it into to the material. And that's a beautiful thing, because again, the art itself of what you're doing stands the test of time, and you never realize until sometimes you hear who you're impacting, who's just finding it for pure joy and entertainment, and who is really, it's life-changing for them. Maybe it gets them to think about different ways to react, like you say, to life. Life happens and comes at us, as we've learned in the last 18 months. It's short, it's precious, it's valuable, and anything can happen. So savor every second of it. But it's how we react to all of these darts and different things, that come at us, and what we do with it, those teachable moments. And so it seems like as much as there's entertainment value in all of this work that you guys do, you've got a clear vision and mission and focus on what your brand is, what it is you want to deliver, and how you want to keep people, the feelings you want people to connect with within themselves through your art, your works of art. And I think that's fantastic. You're living your bliss individually and collectively, which is very cool. Not a lot, we're blessed, the three of us, to be in situations that didn't come easy. Blood, sweat, and tears, hours put in, lots of sacrifice, all of that stuff that goes in that we never, with all the lovely graphics and all the wonderful things, we never talk about how hard it is to do just the basic things we have to do to make it all look effortless, easy, and perfect. But and that includes spending hours and hours of intense moments writing a novel, and multiple best-selling as well, like you, Rebekah, and congratulations on that. There's a lot of hours and emotion that you dump into all of that, right? A lot of yourself is in that. And so you're pouring it all out for everybody else. So really understanding again the material that you're delivering for all of us has a purpose and has a meaning, and people respond to it accordingly, which I think is great. So you're very evident of all the blessings that are around the two of you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I tell you, and this has been a blessing to have you guys with us, and somebody that is sort of my sidekick, who makes an appearance sometimes at the end of the show, to send his good wishes as well. He's sort of like my Ed McMahon. He was whispering in my ear that he just thoroughly enjoyed meeting the two of you. Mr. George Burns is in the house. And there he is with the cigar. He says, does he have the cigar? Yes, he does.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Speaking of West Hartford, my Aunt Lillian in West Hartford actually collected dolls and of all kinds. And this was a collector edition that came out, I believe, when he was 100. That a limited supply of these collector editions. And she collected them. So it got passed down to me. So I did a nostalgic episode where I was chatting with the viewers. We talked about our childhood toys and old TV shows and all these cool things. And I brought out the George Burns doll. And just ever since, it's been a hit. So he sends his best. We have Gilligan and a lot of the I, Jimmy Genie bottle. We have a lot of the nostalgic TV stuff around us here too. But George is here to say, you guys did good. You did good, kids.
Thanks, George.
That's and he played God, remember?
Yep.
I was gonna say he was the first
from God.
the first character first person to play the character of God, before Morgan Freeman and that I remember as a kid.
That's right. Exactly. So again, if folks want to learn more, tell us the websites and places where people can go to follow some of the incredible material you guys have put out and are continuing to put out.
Well, I'm Vampires, Werewolves, Zombies, just about everywhere. So my website is my name, Rebekah Ganiere, but you can also get there by vampireswerewolfzombies.com or vampwerezombie.com. My Twitter, Instagram are all VampWereZombie, Pinterest, Amazon's Vampires, Werewolves, Zombies. So is Facebook. So you can find me everywhere just by Vampires, Werewolves, Zombies.
And then for me, RioVistaUniversal.com, that's the company production website. RekindlingChristmas.com for specifically that movie. And then for me, it's James Ganiere, my first name, last name, on most of the social media. If you're on LinkedIn, I think my handle is actually the letter J in Ganiere because somebody else grabbed my first name.
I finally got jimmasters.com. People think I made that name up, Jim Masters, for television and radio. And I'm like, no, I'm the fifth James. That's the real deal. I didn't make this up. I'm really that name. But it took about 20 years to finally get jimmasters.com. I've got TV.net, Jim Masters Media, all these other iterations of it, but never had jimmasters.com. And I think there was this British singer, because Masters is an English name, that had it forever and just decided didn't want it or not renewing it or whatever during the pandemic. So I just happened to say, hey, let me just, we're doing this show and all the other stuff, and we want to put some of that on there too. And I got the .net and everything else, but darn it, I came close several times to that .com. And wouldn't you believe that like last July, August, it was available. And I had to go through a European company that was holding it, and it cost a few dollars, but finally got jimmasters.com. And you're like, my God.
I know how that is. Like, you having trouble finding the right .com. So.
Right. And the .com is, it is the big one, still is the big one. Want to show you some of the comments before we wrap, so you guys can do what I always tell all the guests to do, get the circulation going and go stretch those legs now. Jane in Sweden says, great show. And in Sweden, it's almost like 4 a.m. for her.
Oh my goodness.
She's here every night. Mary Bishop in Florida says, thanks for the great conversation, Rebekah and James. Take care. Austin Field says, another excellent show. Thank you, Austin. Kathleen in New York City says, thanks for hanging with us. Great show. And Kathleen, again, is in New York City, and that means the New York Mets are not playing tonight because she works with them. And when we were showing the clip, Others, Sherry Larson in Kansas said, looks good. There's eye candy too.
Yes. Jesse, who's played by Michael Patrick Lane, is really good eye candy. But another one to look out for is Tommy Hobson, who plays Alistair. He's a good friend of ours, and I just absolutely adore him. And if you ever look Tommy up, he also teaches spin classes, so you can man candy him on his Instagram while he's doing his spin classes.
And you never know, you may end up in one of their movies or in one of the books. That's it.
And he plays Alistair, and Alistair, he told me, is the closest to his real personality that he has ever played in any film or TV show.
Really?
He's on Nickelodeon right now. He's the dad in a new Nickelodeon TV show.
That girl, Lele.
Yeah, he used to be on the Fresh Beat band years ago.
And he's done a bunch of Disney.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's just amazing.
Is that difficult, the casting part of everything? You know, because you have a vision when you've created the characters of their mannerisms, maybe even what they look like, or and sometimes you maybe come across an actor or actress who doesn't necessarily match the visualization that you had, but their acting prowess, their personality matches and or exceeds, or vice versa. You know, the casting sometimes must be difficult because you've already got a vision of these characters in a way, huh?
Oh, it changes everything. I mean, they say there's several films that you make. There's the film that you write. There's the film that you cast. There's the film that you shot. There's the film that you edit. And then you finally get the film that actually gets delivered on there. Each of those are like major milestones that will alter the film completely, you know, on who you choose, whether you choose this actor or this actress, whether they have chemistry or not. If you don't have chemistry on screen, oh my gosh, your story just died, even though it was amazing in the script format.
Right.
I think Rekindling Christmas was a little bit easier to cast, even though we did it around Christmas, which is when everybody's closed. So that was difficult. But I just reached out to Tommy and I was like, hey, I want you for this role, dude.
We already knew him.
We already knew him. He'd worked with our son Christian several times. And I just called him up and said, I want you to read this and I want to know if you want to do this. And then the role of Carrie is completely different than the role of Carrie in the book as far as physical appearance. But I knew immediately I wanted Rainey for it because she embodied everything I wanted Carrie to embody. So we had a friend and James had met Rainey and Rico before, but we had a friend who'd been working with Rainey and they reached out to Rainey and got her the script and she loved it. You know, so there were a couple of them and James knew Ashley Atwood.
Yeah.
And Rainey was friends actually with Michael Patrick Lane. They're both from Texas where we shot and they had gone to the same acting school. So we got Michael Patrick through them. And
we're looking for a few people.
So a couple of people we had to really look for, but I think it was much easier to cast than No More Goodbyes. No More Goodbyes, by the time we started casting that, everybody wanted to be working. So we got over 10,000 submissions.
Yeah.
And weeding through those was a chore. I mean, it was really hard to weed through all those. It was a lot of people.
You normally never have that many submissions on a film.
On an indie film, especially. No. And
what do you think it was? Well, what was the draw?
I think a lot of people wanted to get back to work.
Yeah.
They wanted to get back to work.
They had been working for 6 months.
And it was, there wasn't anything to do. I mean, there weren't productions. Everything was being put on hold, hold, canceled, and we were full steam ahead. We had a date we were shooting. We weren't moving the date. And everybody saw, it's like, wow, they're filming. We're sick of being stuck at home. We want to go work. And then when they saw what the project was, I mean, the floodgates just opened.
Yeah, the quality of it. Everybody's like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be associated with that. And that's an amazing thing. It's a testament to you guys and the quality of what you do and the passion that you have for what you do. This was fantastic, and I wish you guys continued success. Let's definitely stay in touch. I'm on all the social media as well at Jim Masters TV, and of course our YouTube channel where we house this episode and all the episodes, Jim Masters TV. I still find it, I'm in awe sometimes when I realize that in the period that we've started this show, we've done like 450 episodes, 7 days a week live, and it's still not the day job. It's like, but, it's like, wait a minute, this is becoming a full-time thing. But, like you guys know, when you love what you do and you can interact with others and we all learn together and, you sort of spread a little positivity. It's what the world needs, and there's nothing like it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys are the best. I wish you great continued success and blessings. Let's definitely stay in touch. And if you're on the East Coast here, or if I'm out in the LA area on a TV shoot or something, I'll certainly let you guys know. It'd be a pleasure to break bread. Thanks for sharing this time. Believe it or not, we chatted for an hour and 20 minutes, and it doesn't seem like it, right?
No.
Everybody says it's like, my God, it feels like, half hour, and just let it roll. My style is sort of like, I say the show is hearkening back to the old school Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Dick Clark style with a modern twist of today. So freestyle, conversational, warm, and wherever we take it, we take it. And Kathy Short in Cleveland says, wonderful show. Thanks for being with us tonight. Thank you, Kathy in Cleveland. Gang, you guys are terrific. And I wish you again all the best. And thanks for being with us on the show tonight. It was really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
And God bless those kids. Good night to all the Lovedies too. Yes, all the Lovedies who've been commenting throughout. We love all the Lovedies around the world. And God bless the kids. I mean, it's quiet. Like, I don't hear anything breaking. I don't hear any yelling.
I'm so glad because they were doing karaoke at the top of their lungs a few minutes ago.
Were they?
I can hear them through the floor.
You mean they don't have their cell phones or their computers on watching you guys live on YouTube at Jim Masters TV? That's the mobile cell phone crowd up there.
Oh my goodness. They're singing at the top of their lungs down there, yelling while playing Mario Kart. I just kept thinking, I wonder if they can hear him. I wonder if he can hear all them down there.
Hear it. No, don't hear it. You guys are really in that soundproof bunker. It would make a wonderful voiceover booth. Linda Odell says, enjoyed another show. Thank you. Please come back. She's in St. Augustine, Florida. Alessandra says, thanks for being guests on the show. She's in North Carolina, and another wonderful show as well. So hopefully, I don't know if there's cake upstairs or anything, but hopefully they left you some food. That's it. You guys, again, take care. It was a real pleasure. And thanks for joining us on the show. We thoroughly enjoyed the time, and I hope the show met whatever expectations you had.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're fabulous. Thank you, Jim.
Please spread the word. And as my father has always said, whenever somebody says something nice, please ask them to put it in writing and address it management. So of Dad's Irish humor. Gang, again, take care. We'll see you guys soon, okay?
See ya. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Amazing, right? Rebekah and James, real talents. They're out in LA, and we weren't kidding around. Their kids are in like another part of the house, and they were saying karaoke's going on, and there's like they're celebrating while the parents are quietly downstairs in the hidden bunker, in the soundproof hidden location in the house. And I didn't hear a peep. Did you hear any karaoke? If you did, what was the song they were singing? I didn't hear it. No, I just heard them, and it was terrific. Jane's still with us. Earlier she said it was 3:20 a.m. in Sweden, and now here she is. Night, James and Rebekah. Thanks for being with us. Absolutely, you guys are all terrific, and an amazing conversation. You learned about their work, about, of course, now you're going to want to seek out more of Rebekah's work too, as a best-selling author, novelist, and James's work and their collective work as well. And again, check out those websites to learn more. Really fabulous having them as special guests on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series tonight. And again, we focused on a lot of different projects, but of course, Rekindling Christmas. You can never have enough Christmas. Hey, we listen to Christmas music all year long, but there is the movie itself. I do want to let you know as well that we have an amazing array of guests coming up. On the 31st, the one and only, she's a dear friend, Dina Martin is coming on. She, of course, is the daughter of Hollywood legend Dean Martin. She's coming on the show. Matt Dusk, who is a multi-platinum selling crooner and jazz vocalist, he's with us coming up. Actually, next Wednesday, he's going to be with us as well, live from Canada. Tomorrow night, pop and country music singer and musician Samantha Taylor is going to be with us. She's all excited as well. And the list goes on and on and on. Really excited about some of the amazing guests in upcoming shows. We have Harlan Rector. He's going to be with us, author of I Matter, Finding Meaning in Your Life at Any Age. He's also a renowned voiceover artist in the television and radio and film industry. He does voiceovers for just about everything and everyone. And he's going to be with us as well. We're looking forward to that. And so many other amazing guests that are coming on our show. So again, we thank Rebekah and James for being with us. And of course, you're watching our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We'd love it if you subscribe, click the notification bell. It is a channel dedicated to entertaining, informing, educating, and inspiring as well. And before we go, there's something else we always do. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the famous Lovity. And don't forget to find your Zen place. Obviously, James and Rebekah are Zen when they're working together, when they're with their family, when they're doing their thing, their craft. And loving family and friends for me as well. And music, writing, baseball, tennis. I'm a cyclist, gardening, all of it. And the ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean here on the East Coast and the Northeast. You got to drag me out of the ocean. Swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing, floating in it. The ocean is a very Zen place for me. And we're just a couple blocks from the ocean here. And I grew up not far from the ocean as well. So it's a Zen place. Also, my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years is also a Zen place for me. So find your Zen place and, share your inspirations and your talents with the world. As I mentioned, everybody's welcome to join us on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Wow, Kathleen, thank you very much. That's our super chat, super emojis that help support the series as well and all the content we deliver 7 days a week live. I so love being here. Always make me smile. When somebody does that, we always highlight it in a special color, and that's a really nice shade of green. And I personally thank you as well. Kathleen, that's very generous of you, and thank you. So if you guys are always wondering, what's the super emoji, super chat, super sticker things that happens? That is something YouTube, we reached a milestone on YouTube, and they give us an ability to offer that to you guys during live chat, which is during the show as well. So cool stuff. You guys are the best. Thank you very much, Kathleen. Really appreciate that. Mary Bishop says, good night, all. Take care. And Linda says, good night, Jim, and good night, Lovities. Again, tomorrow, great music and conversation with Samantha Taylor. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific live. And that is just scratching the surface of the amazing guests we have coming up. Donnie Most, who was in Happy Days, is joining us in September. We're looking forward to that as well. Jane in Sweden says, good night, everyone. And Jim, see you tomorrow. Don't forget, we've got a Facebook page as well for this series. It's the Jim Masters Show, Lovity Hall on Facebook. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And of course, our channel here on YouTube, all at Jim Masters TV. And great chat tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Kathy in Cleveland, you as well. And you're here because the Cleveland Indians are not home as well, right? Because if they were home, you'd be at the game. It's great. You can see all of these episodes. If you're not here live, we realize we all have lives to lead. I know you guys love being here live because you have the ability to interact. But if you're not here live, don't fret, because many people watch and they don't comment live. They just sit back and watch. And there's many who binge watch our series on our YouTube channel. So there it is, 24/7, 365. All of the episodes are available for you. They go all the way back. Stanley Livingston from My Three Sons, Kathy Garver from Family Affair, Marion Ross from Happy Days, and so many other guests from all walks of life. And our special holiday shows, St. Patrick's Day, this whole set was green. Christmas time, it was decorated for Christmas, a big Christmas tree over here. Valentine's Day, it was red. We do it all for you guys. Again, this is a variety entertainment lifestyle talk show series where every night is something different, just like the traditional television talk shows used to do. Alessandra says, besides this show being my Zen spot, and a lot of you expressed during the pandemic, and you continued to express to me personally how this show has meant a lot to you, and I really appreciate that greatly. You've been very expressive with that. Writing poetry is also something very Zen for you, and that's really great. Keep that up. Keep that up. It's really beautiful that you do that kind of work, and share it with the world. The world is waiting to see your talents as well, Alessandra. So this is your host, Jim Masters. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time on the Jim Masters Show Live. Let's see. Love country music. So I look forward to tomorrow's show. Yes, we got a lot of good music with Samantha. I believe she's going to perform live for us as well. She's all excited. We were writing to each other earlier today, and she's all excited. She can't wait to be with us, and we can't wait to have her here. So, gang, you're the best. We will see you guys tomorrow, and we will say what one of our lovely viewers taught us, who comes from South Africa. She said in African, this is Juanita, of course, she said, because we don't say goodbye here, we say see you later. Or we'll see, Avida Zane, sayonara, ciao, cheers, all the rest. But moi loop, MOOILOOP, which means walk well. So till we see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live, moi loop, walk well. Thanks for being with us, gang. We love you all. Take care. Have a great night, morning, noon, afternoon, whatever it is, evening, whenever you're watching this. We'll see you on the next one. You guys are the best. Take care and be well. Thanks for joining us.